Yesterday was not a good day. I'm sure you've said those words to yourself, or maybe to someone on the phone, or maybe over the fence to someone over the last several weeks. Yesterday was not a good day for me. No, I mean it. Yesterday was not a good day for me. The starts out okay. We have some family time in the morning. We clean the house, and then Daxton and Mila go outside to play. It's more than some people have who have no one around in their homes. I watched Hunter do some building, and I realized that we have another building set downstairs. They get so many Christmas presents, we kind of put some of them off to the side. And so he seems to be really into the building thing. So the two of us, we kind of scurry down the stairs into the storage room, and we rummage around trying to find it. Well, we find this hydraulic-driven, solar-powered building set. It's kind of amazing what kids can build these days. And it turns into anything from a T-Rex to a dune buggy. So Hunter, of course, runs up the stairs, excited as ever. Who wouldn't be? And I find two other sets of Lego from Mila and Daxton, and it looks like it's going to be a great afternoon. Sun is shining, and I don't know if anyone smelt it, but that sweet breeze that was blowing through yesterday, some of it was a little bit heavy breeze, but you could smell that sweetness in the air. What could possibly go wrong? Well, go wrong it does. Without going into too much detail, a chain of events happen, and they cause me to grab my car keys and leave the house in a huff and go for a hike up the cut banks just so I can cool down a bit. Being at home at that point was just not a good idea for me. Well, eventually I make my way back home, and things seem to have calmed down, but I'm still in turmoil. My whole being just seems like it's full of knots, and it's turned inside out. I spend the next hour talking to Vanessa and running through what happened and digging into a bit of the things that are going on in life. You know, stuff backs up, stuff you don't have time to think about, including this pandemic. But I can't undo that knot. It's so tight that nothing seems to loosen it. I take a nap, I try to relax. Still, it doesn't come apart. And I even talk to Vanessa some more after that, but no. And I'm at the point where I start to think that maybe this doesn't come undone for a long time. How am I going to move from this horrible space that I find myself in to the one that I so desperately want to be in, that other space? How do I get out of this spot, this place? I don't want to be here anymore. And of course, sure, I could get out of bed, right? Or I can kind of go on with my day in theory, but the place I'm living in my mind is heavy. And it's almost as if it kind of keeps me glued down and incapacitated in that moment. This mental space, whatever it is for you, whatever it is for any of us, this dark place is reflected throughout our Christian tradition. Sometimes it lasts for minutes, maybe hours, sometimes days and weeks, sometimes months, and yes, sometimes even years. Mother Teresa spoke of a dark night of the soul, the place that she couldn't get out of or only found temporary relief from. She said that it lasted from 1948 until her death in 1997, or just before that, with only brief interludes. And while that sounds absolutely mind-boggling, I simply can't imagine that. Well, St. John of the Cross talks about this all the way back in the 16th century in his commentaries in this short poem called Dark Night of the Soul. He explains how the journey through this dark night involves grief and the loss of things, sometimes the loss of others, sometimes the loss of ourselves. And it's a movement from us towards God. It's an eventual arrival that does come at some point. I don't know when, but it does, in the delicious life of God, he says, the sweet and delicious life of God. In other words, that dark night is the place where we turn in on ourselves often, and how can we not? When sorrow overwhelms us, when sadness comes, when we simply don't know what's going on. It's a place where we lean on our own selves, perhaps our own understanding, where we demand to know and we reject, in a lot of ways, that simplicity of faith. Although it isn't so simple, is it, to trust God? It's not that easy. This place is painful. It's a place of real darkness, and it is a place of real hopelessness for people. It feels like you cannot escape from it, that you can't get to that place. You know that place? The place where your mind is at ease and your body is at rest. The place where you feel safe in God's arms no matter what's going on around you. Because all of that doesn't matter. Just this matters. And it's that image that we encounter today of being led back into the sheepfold on this Good Shepherd Sunday. The theologian Brendan Byrne explains it beautifully, this going in and this coming out. At dawn, the sheep exit the pen to go out into pasture and be nourished. And at nightfall, the sheep enter into the pen for safety. Jesus is the gate that we go out through to get nourishment when we need, and enter through to receive the rest. Jesus is the gate we go out through and enter in through. As the means of exit and entry, the gate is in this way is both life-sustaining and it is life protection. Come through me, and you will find what you need, Jesus is saying. And these are the words that I finally hear. Come through me, and you will find what you need, Jesus says. You know, after exhausting all my avenues, right, after going over what I've done or what has happened or what could be different or what I want to be different or what I want to change, there seems to only be one opening, one way, one gate. It's that same gate that always appears when I can't undo the thing that I've done. When the end of my abilities of reasoning and thinking things through are over. When the thing that has happened cannot be undone, it simply is. It's the same gate that's always available. It's right in front of me, but I just ignore it. Maybe I don't see it. Maybe it seems easier just to jump the fence, right? To do it on my own, to find peace in my own way. Maybe that's the way. But no matter how many times I try it, it never works. It just doesn't work. Why do we ignore the gate? Why do I ignore the gate? Why are we so slow to learn this? Why? And yet Jesus stands there right in front of us, not hidden from us, though hidden to us because of our own kind of self-induced blindness. You know, blind and deaf, I imagine us kind of stumbling around outside the sheepfold, groping for a way in, crying out for a way in, maybe even. But there Christ stands with those nail-pierced hands that we saw Good Friday, resurrected on Easter Sunday. The one who knows the dark night of the soul, inviting us into a peace that passes all understanding. Well, eventually I do get out of bed after I hear these words, come through me and you'll find what you need. Somehow I have just enough to get out, and I go to the kids' rooms. And I talk to them about why I left in such a hurry and such a huff. And I apologize for getting so upset. And these are the words that I hear from them. It's okay. We all get upset. I forgive you, Dad. I thought you weren't coming back. I'm happy you're home. How I need to hear those words. How we all need to hear those words of forgiveness. I'm happy that you're home. It's okay. We all get upset. How I need to hear that there is a way back into that sheepfold when I feel like I'm groping around outside. Not one that I can conjure up myself, but one that is always there, just waiting, patiently waiting, patiently waiting. How we need to hear that that gate is always open, not closed, but open for us. And Jesus is that gate, is he not? The way out of the dark night and into the safety of that sheepfold. So again, Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. Whoever enters by me will be saved, and will come in, and will go out, and will find pasture. Come through me, little flock, and you will find what you need. You will find a way when there is no other way." Amen.